Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Wine, Women, and Words. And joining me is Michelle.
Hello.
And then also joining us is our special guest, Lisa Barr, with her book, The Unbreakables. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
So now, for people who aren't familiar with the book, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So this book is about a woman from the Chicago suburbs who, in one night, her whole marriage erupts, and she decides, and then also she's betrayed by her husband, also betrayed by her besties, and she takes off, flees to Paris, where her daughter is studying, and also is having issues, and from there she goes to the south of France to heal. And not only heal, but to reclaim her ambitions as an artist and reawaken her sensuality.
Well, if you have to go somewhere to do that,
yes,
south of France is really
not happening in the Chicago suburbs. So yeah,
right. I'm in. I guess we qualify as the suburbs. We're up north, in North Chicago, near the naval station.
Oh, okay.
So, kind of in the area.
Yes.
With this crazy 1 day of summer and then 5 days of winter again thing. So
yeah,
it's very annoying. I'm very over it.
So over it, yes. But today was gorgeous.
Yeah, today I'll take today. Today was a win, and now tomorrow's my birthday, and my birthday weekend commences.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I've tried reminding my husband that I do get a birthday weekend.
Oh, for sure, you get the whole weekend.
He just shouted something, but I'm wearing my headphones, so I have no idea what he said. But so now it has to be nice weather from now until Sunday.
Okay, it's going to happen. I feel it.
Right. So, and you're also, your background is as a journalist and an editor.
Yeah.
And as a journalist myself, I have to nerd out a little bit. And one question that I asked another guest that we had, who was also a journalist, was about dialogues. Because one of my journalism professors once told us something, I wish I could remember exactly what she said, but she said something to the effect of, don't use a quote when you can write it better yourself. So I'm always curious about how writers build dialogue and how they approach dialogue, because it's kind of almost the opposite, that you need the dialogue to propel the story.
Yeah, I mean, I like the mix. I mean, I love great dialogue, because especially when it's a story about relationships, you have the description. I mean, later on, you have a lot of description with the south of France, where I did my research, and I know it was torture, but the dialogue is really key, especially in the beginning with what happens between her and her husband. So you need that, especially in sort of a fight type of situation, that dialogue and whipping it back and forth very quickly, except the description of what's going on as they're having this blowout is probably key as well. So it really is a balance of the dialogue, depending on the situation, and some great description surrounding it. And it takes work. It's not, it doesn't just come, it's craft, really.
I love snappy dialogue, snappy arguments, especially because, if my husband and I start snapping at each other, I don't always have the comebacks right away, but when I'm taking a shower the next morning and I'm still stewing about it, I have some great comebacks like 24 hours later.
Yeah, we have our fights. We joke that I'm the 20 minutes later person. So I have everything, we'll be going right on like this. I'm 20 minutes later, then I come back and I'm like, hey, just So yeah, he's quick. I'm slow on the draw for sure. Yeah.
But the good thing is, as writers, you can think about it and then come back, and no one knows that you did the 20-minute pause.
Yeah, but interestingly, when you're writing relationships, sometimes it's exactly that pause can come out later. So you're not, a lot of times when we're arguing with our spouse or our partner, you might be doing the dishes or you might be doing something later and you're still in that argument. So it might come out later as well, you know?
That's happened
Yes.
once or twice.
Yeah.
Oh, plenty of times, yes. So yeah, and that's something that with these relationships, they're very complex relationships in the world, where between, whether it's with her besties or with her ex-husband, or with her daughter, or even, you know, her daughter's boyfriend, which, I mean, Michelle hasn't read the book, so I'm not going to give too much away, especially for those who haven't read the book yet. Talk about how you built those relationships.
Well, I'm a mom with 3 daughters, so I know this girl. Like, I know her inside and out, 19-year-old Ava, and she's a great kid, but she's experimental and she's making decisions that her mom, Sophie, is going to freak out about. You know, that's, you know, that happens. And so the fact that she's an only child as well, the daughter, so there's a real tight connection between the father, the mother, and the daughter. And so I really wanted to build this trio of what happens to their relationship. There's also there's a lot of trios in this book, you know.
Yes.
Hello, you know. But interestingly, but her 2 best friends, and I don't know if you have best friends, but 3s are hard, especially with women. You know, different things happen. I find 3s, you know, really lend an edge to relationships because someone is either left out or there's a dominant person. You know, it's just very interesting with 3s. So that kind of goes through the novel and the different relationships where there's 3s, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, 3s are always a hard number.
Yeah.
So, but I've always found that, like you mentioned, there's usually a dominant one or, you know, a leader of the group, but then there's also that dynamic where it shifts, you know, or sometimes one person is the dominant one, sometimes another person, and then you have to kind of they have to recalibrate based on whatever the hierarchy is.
Exactly. Or the person who gets stuck in the middle in between 2 people, especially if you know, in that kind of threesome situation. Oh,
no one wants to be in the middle.
That goes for so many things in life.
No, but it was really fun and interesting to write, you know, the relationship with the girlfriends and to really get in when it became just the mother and daughter, a lot of the issues that arose between them. And, you know, as a mom, and if I'm going through something really traumatic or I have something going on and my kid has something going on, their pain trumps my pain. So you still have to be, whatever you're going through, the mom and taking care of someone else. Even like in this instance where Sophie's betrayed by her husband and yet her daughter's dealing with a betrayal and she goes to take care of her daughter. But then she kind of wakes up and is basically saying, okay, it's my turn now. I need to heal. And so from there, the book really kickstarts Sophie's journey to heal. Yeah.
And there was one thing that I remember that you emphasized within the book. It was, they had a saying, Ava first, Ava last.
Yes, right. Exactly. So that, and you hit that exactly right, because, you know, everything about their daughter was first and from first to the end, basically. And I think Sophie, you know, really, although she had been betrayed by a lot of people, the truth is she really kind of abandoned herself. And so part of that is finding who she is as a woman outside of being a mother, outside of being someone's wife. Like, who was she? You know, I remember this moment when my 3 daughters were in college. And, you know, I spent so many years making it about them, my writing, my kids. And then they went to college. And I went to the grocery store, I was in Whole Foods. And I thought to myself, what do I want? I don't even know what I want. I shop for them and for everybody. So it was kind of that first time I was like, okay, no, I want this and I want that. And so I kind of tried to incorporate that, Sophie taking baby steps to find out, what does she want? She'd been with one man her whole life. and so now that's going to change. And so it's going to be a big growing process for her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. That was something I was going to touch on, because I was going to ask if this was something that you found to be relatable for other women, that you wanted to put out there for other women, because it's so easy to get lost in that blend, whether with our relationships,
Yes.
or kids, or just life in general, and you have a tendency to lose yourself.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think the thread of this book is reinvention. And I know that so many women, my age, and maybe their kids are older, or their kids are in junior high, or going to high school, or going to college, and they're not dependent anymore. So it does give you an opportunity to say, okay, maybe in my 20s, I was doing this, and I was living downtown and I was working, but then I decided to really devote a lot of time, if you're a stay-at-home mom, to the kids. But then the kids start growing up, and then it's your turn. So there's this fork in the road for Sophie is reinvention. Who is she going to be now that she lost everything? How is she going to rise out of the rubble, basically?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when it came to that relationship, it's so easy with going with her and her husband's relationship. It's so easy to just be like, okay, he's a bad guy who just decided to go on Ashley Madison and cheat on his wife. And it was like, you could easily paint that, and a lot of books do, and it's like, okay, what's the cause of the cheating? Well, he just wants to be a philanderer. And I loved how you pointed out there was that specific time when he was like, it was at 7:54 on a Tuesday. And it was like, at first I was like, what? And then you get that cause as to what it was that kind of turned him off from the relationship, that caused him to start to shut down.
It's really hard. Yeah, exactly. I sort of drew a little bit from my own experience. I had, a lot of issues trying to get pregnant and keeping pregnancies. And so a lot of women, go through fertility issues. And just to put it out there, sex is scheduled, and it's, you need to, this is when the eggs are going, let's do it now. So it loses the romance, it loses the hotness. It's so, this is now. Stop your basketball game. I don't care if the Bulls are winning, my eggs are hatching. It really is tough. And having been there, it's painful, and you just, it's a hard place to be. So I wanted to touch on that. I think there are a lot of issues that really impact women that I really wanted to focus on in this book. So yeah.
Yeah, and focusing on that strain that infertility stuff can play in a relationship. I mean, I can speak from experience too with that it's like, it causes so much friction that a lot of couples just drop out and say, screw it, whatever happens, happens, we don't care anymore. And then some people, you see those divorce rates tick up and things like of this nature, what happened with Sophie and her husband.
Right. And I think also with Sophie, the other big issue they had, and I was trying to explore this, can a relationship that starts really young, like, they were senior year in high school, so they were each other's, they grew up together. Can a relationship go the distance when it's that young? Who I am at this age, and I think back to where I was in my 20s, it's two different people. I'm fully formed. I know what I like. I know who I am now. But can you grow and evolve the distance? From Dave's perspective, he had never been with anybody else. He had never had those experiences, those times that a lot of people have in their 20s till they get to that one person. And so he was acting out. Well, yeah. And I think for her, sometimes you get very excited about, new art and new furniture, that the marriage was on autopilot, and you sort of don't see the person from a fresh light, and things can get stale as well.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why, I mean, the long-term relationships are seeing fewer and fewer over the years.
Yeah. So, I wanted to explore, how do you keep it going? How do you keep it strong? And, to, add that in the book, because I know it's a big issue facing a lot of marriages.
And you mentioned earlier that you had, the hardship of researching for your book. So
Hard. Oh, we feel for you. We really do.
I know. Someone had to do his torture,
suffer for your art. We fully support it.
Yeah, no,
So
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love, I know some books are set in places that, you can't get to, or they don't even exist, and you're making it up as you go along. But what is it like for you to be able to first like walk the streets and see what you're describing, and then translate it into, a picture from words?
No, that's a great question. I was trying to figure out where was the spot. And I knew my whole thing was Sophie had lost her passion. So of course, where was the spot? It was going to have to be the south of France, just the lavender, the perfumeries, the wineries. And I wanted her to go to a place where she could turn on all five senses and feel it. And, for me to walk the walk, to go into this St. Paul de Vence, and it was just gorgeous, medieval cobblestones, serpentine streets, and just thinking this is what Sophie's going to experience for the first time. And the different places that I took her, I really, I was taking notes diligently, and I was taking it in myself. So that was really super cool. And I was really hoping I'd be able to translate it, how I was feeling into the book. So that was a big goal of mine to do just.
Well, I think you did.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I love if I'm covering, an event or a community, something, it's always fun when you see that one thing, that one detail that is totally going, it's like, it's either the perfect hook or it's the perfect part or perfect description, and you see it and you just know that you have to include it. I love those moments that you have when you're observing something specifically to incorporate into a story.
Yeah, no, and usually it's the odd detail that is unexpected. So something happens where you're going and you think it's going to be, as a journalist, kind of you have to get the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And, just get in, get the facts. But then there's something that happens, and I did a lot of one-on-one interviews with celebrities or prominent people, and when you have that one thing that just changes it, you have your story. And there were things like that happen on this trip with this book. And there was this restaurant that Colombe d'Or, and it's where all the artists went, Picasso, before he had paintings out, before he had money and things like that, and they would trade their art for food. And it's this most gorgeous restaurant that I wanted to use as a setting for the book. And, just finding little places like that were just a thrill.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. We gotta book a trip to France, Michelle. Your book might not be in France, might not be either, but hey. We'll go do some research there. We'll make it set in France.
We can just relocate. We can shift. It's all right.
I mean, your book is going to be set in Oz. Oz can be inspired by France. It totally works.
It works. I'm in.
Yeah, see?
I mean, the beautiful thing about being a writer is you can make it work.
You could make it work. You could sit in your kitchen in suburbia and write, and you could be anywhere.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of it. And you know what? I feel like did you both know that you wanted to go into this field when you were little girls? Like, did you have that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, most little girls have that that hairbrush, I want to be a rock star thing. Yeah, mine was, I want to be a novelist. Yeah. That was my rock star dream.
And I wanted to be Nancy Drew. So
I wanted to be Nancy Drew too. The best, the coolest. Absolutely.
I remember reading not the like original ones, but they had like the college years series
Yes.
when she
I
went
could
to
reach
college.
back right now and I could pull out some Nancy Drew. I have some vintage Nancy Drew. That's how I loved it. Loved it.
That was
Nice.
when I was like, oh, she's an investigative reporter. That's what I want to do. I mean, it's shifted a little bit. I don't do investigative reporting, but
Yeah.
I do reporting.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny. I was at a book event just before this, and someone asked what book influenced me the most, and I said Nancy Drew. That was it. That was my investigative reporting, background for sure.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I think Diane and I had that conversation a few weeks ago where, I told her everyone has, when they have the question, what book changed your life? And everyone always had, oh, sorry, my cat knocked over my phone. Thank you, Fish.
Oh, Fish.
He always wants to cuddle when I'm interviewing.
I'm surprised my dog's not barking right now.
But everyone always has these profound answers, like, Hemingway or Fitzgerald, or, they have deep answers. And I'm like, mine is honestly Nancy Drew. That's the reason I wanted to become a journalist, is Nancy Drew. But I guess that's my profound answer.
Yeah, no,
Which is so profound.
Yeah, no, listen, but the funny thing is, someone was saying how we were talking about Nancy Drew and how, you always wanted to know who the author was and see her, but because the books, back then you didn't know who these authors were. Now we have things like this podcast or social media, and so everyone gets to meet the authors, which is so cool, but back then it didn't exist. And, the other book that really influenced me when I was a little girl was Fear of Flying. Do you know that book by Erica Jong? This was like the first sexual revolution book, and, a woman's freedom, and she was independent. It was on my parents' top shelf that I used a ladder to get it and snuck it. And so when I was an editor at the Chicago Sun-Times, I had launched their women's section. So my very first interview was with Erica Jong, 30 years after Fear of Flying.
Oh, how cool.
Stoked to interview her, it was just really something. But yeah, so it's just interesting.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I don't remember what I said. I think it was the major answer, the one that I could really remember reading and falling in love with. I think I would have to say was To Kill a Mockingbird. That was the one where it was like, okay, this is like a real novel. This is something that I want to do. Like you can do. It was like that profound literary moment. But I mean, I can get even more profound than Nancy Drew, guys. The first book I remember loving. Wait for it.
If you had named Pippi Longstocking, we'd be all in right now.
Love me some Pippi Longstocking, but I'm going to even go further back than that. Teddy Mother Effing Ruxpin.
Yeah.
Talk about profound.
Yeah.
That one, I think one of my very first memories is, so you had the books and then you had the tapes with Teddy Ruxpin.
Right.
For those of you kids who are listening who were born like in the 90s,
right.
Teddy Ruxpin was this bear that had this thing called a tape player. And his mouth would move. And when you got older, you put in tapes of like Metallica or Gangster Rap to see his mouth move. But I had all the Teddy Ruxpin tapes, and I had his little caterpillar friend, and their mouths would move, at different parts of the story. And I thought it was the best thing ever. And then I still have the books. And I would remember reading those. I had those, I didn't know how to read yet. So I tried to follow along and read. And my very first memory, I had a grandfather who had Alzheimer's, and he was bedridden. And one of my very first memory is sitting down in my little chair, making up Teddy Ruxpin stories and telling them to him.
That's beautiful.
So that was,
it's something. My grandfather lived to 105, and so we were super close. He was really smart. And so when I was at the Sun-Times, I was writing sex and relationships. Okay, that was one of my beats. So My grandfather, picture this, he's 100 and he reads everything. He took care of himself. He's like, Lisa, I saved you an article. And I said, what? He said, the evolution of the orgasm. Okay. He goes, what do you write about? I'm like, Grandpa, I write, I cover everything. But that was what he gave me. And so he was 100 years old. It was something else.
Grandpa's being helpful.
Grandpa was being helpful, yeah. So,
oh, that's awesome, though.
yeah, it was really something. We had a special relationship. Yeah. So, oh my gosh.
Well, I believe we are at our half hour.
I was just going to say, I think we actually just hit our ish. I mean, yeah.
It's fun. And how long have you guys been together doing this? This is great.
We've been doing this show itself for what, 3 years?
Yep. June is our 3rd year anniversary. What is that?
Yes.
Cotton now?
Is it?
That's amazing.
I expect something cotton in the mail, Michelle.
Okay, I'll figure. I'll get like a book cover or something.
It's like your wife, that's it's great.
She totally is. I mean, sometimes we text each other more than our husbands. So.
100%. And I think that was just to wrap it in the book, those women relationships, those besties. Gabe, the husband, was very jealous of her relationships with her best friends. And so that was definitely another issue that took place. But there's nothing like a special relationship between women. It's really, friendships and, what you guys are doing, which is great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes, and guys, before we forget too, if you're following us on Instagram, be sure to follow us on Instagram if you're not. We have a giveaway going on for the US and Canada. You can get an arc of the Unbreakables. It goes from now, Thursday the 6th, to Saturday, the 8th. Yes, thank you, Michelle.
I know the date for like the next 4 days. That's it.
Yeah. You got to be sure to follow us and follow Lisa on Instagram and wish Michelle a happy birthday on our Instagram page.
Yes, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on. We had so much fun chatting with you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Right. Have a great night, guys.
Okay. Good night.
You too. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we're going to transition now over to the Time Collector. And Michelle, you are on...
I'm about halfway through chapter 7.
Okay.
Chapter 7-ish.
Yeah, I'm in the midst of chapter 7 as well. I haven't quite gotten to the New York City part of that chapter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the chapters are 2 parts in this. So I'm in the midst, just a couple pages into the bracelet.
Yes. Okay, so we're basically in the exact same spot.
Yeah, so guys, if you haven't read up to chapter 7, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you haven't read up to chapter 7 in the book, put this on pause, read up to chapter 7. Trust me, it will go by fast. Time around you will freeze so that you can have time to read.
It is called the Time Collector, so obviously it collects time while you're reading it.
Yes, so we will have a few spoilers up to chapter 7, so we are going to be discussing that in full because I have not had an opportunity to unpack with Michelle about this book, and I so need to unpack.
And I think Roan is going to be our newest book boyfriend.
Oh, absolutely. From like page 1, he was my book boyfriend. If I could have a boyfriend who could pick up an artifact and have all of those memories.
Oh my gosh, you know how cool that is?
I was walking around, so I've read the first chapter and then went to the Getty. And
you're just like, I want to touch it.
I want to touch everything. I was like, I want Roan's ability. I mean, I can only imagine having his ability and then going into a museum. That would just be so crazy.
They'd be like, excuse me, sir, don't touch that. And you'd be like, well, did you know that he painted this on a Thursday because he was in a bad mood because someone served him cold coffee?
Right? Or like me, because I got in trouble for taking a photograph. And I didn't realize I was in a section where no photographs were allowed.
Diana.
I know, I'm such a rebel.
Read the signs.
I didn't see any signs, and neither did Ryan. And But you can't blame me for the photo that I took, which I didn't share online since, I figured I was probably gonna, get in trouble for that because there was no photography. So we're in the photography section of
Send it to me later.
Oh, I totally will. We're in the photography section of the museum, and there's this guy who I can't remember his name. I should remember his name, but I can't. But he did art, like he staged scenes and did photography of it. And he cosplayed as Giuseppe Garibaldi. I know, and I was like, oh my god, it's Garibaldi! And like Ryan was walking away, I was like, Ryan, come here, it's Garibaldi! It's a cosplay of Garibaldi! I found like the first cosplay in history. And so he and I were just nerding out over it. Like, we find stuff on Giuseppe Garibaldi in the most random places now, that you don't expect to see it. And yeah, it was
That's
just
so cool.
Yeah, so I had to take a picture, and like I was fangirling, and then the security guard was like, "No photos." I was like, "Oh, well, you didn't need to yell at me about it. Could have just been like, Miss, no photos," and I would have been like, "Oh, I'm sorry, put my phone away." So yeah. But just going back to Rowan, I mean, I could just imagine that where you have these imprints of these memories, and then also being maddening after a while too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't want to shop for furniture at antique stores. Don't buy a bed at an antique store. Can you imagine?
God. Oh my god. Well, I mean, don't buy a mattress at an antique store because that's just gross.
But I mean, like, I meant a bed frame. Like,
how often do you touch your bed frame? I don't touch my bed frame very often.
I don't know, like maybe the headboard a little bit on occasion.
Really?
Not like that. Okay, I'm blushing now.
You just kind of walked into that one.
I know. I saw it happening and I couldn't stop it. It was like a train wreck. Anyway, guys. Oh my god. Okay.
Okay.
I need the air conditioner to turn on now.
I know. I still refuse to use the air conditioner in my house, and it's getting warm in here. But let's look at other household things that you just can't go shopping in an antique store. Let's just say that.
No, yeah, you can't. Like, what about
everything is suspect?
Like a pen. I mean, Millicent, and I keep wanting to say Maleficent every time I see her
name.
But
I love that name, Millicent.
But I love Millicent.
Yes.
She has a pen. Like, she finds a pen. And you don't stop and think about, I mean, maybe not now because everyone texts, but like people wrote love letters, people wrote like hate letters, breakup letters, makeup letters.
Well, what's his face? The guy who wrote Tarzan. That was his pen, and he wrote like the first draft of Tarzan with that pen.
I know, but just like any pen would have thousands of imprints.
Well, I do a lot of handwriting out, like notes and like first drafts of my books. So I mean, someday somebody could pick up one of my pens and be like, oh, "It's Steiner's pen." But also now we have pens that are disposable. So,
but I am very attached to my pen. I have a pencil that is mine and a pen that is mine, and you don't touch my purple pen.
But someday your purple pen might run out of ink.
It's going to be a very sad day when that happens.
Are you going to bury it in your backyard?
I might.
Mm-hmm.
I might leave a little sign for the next military family to find.
This was Michelle's purple pen. It was much
loved.
Take
note. Remember this name.
Oh, God. Take note.
You know oh, I didn't even mean that one.
We are so full of puns tonight.
We are. Oh, it's a good one. Good one tonight. This is no alcohol because I have no wine right now.
I'm the only one drinking. I think when you do that.
All right, no, because I'm gonna have wine tomorrow. I'm gonna have champagne on Saturday because you guys, there's less than 48 hours until I see Hamilton live on stage before me.
So
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, I can't wait to hear all about it.
I'm gonna like overload our Instagram story of
Mhm.
like, you guys, look, there's the stage. But anyway,
Oh
and I
yeah,
found this
Michelle's.
event, totally off topic, but I found
Uh-huh.
this event at like a speakeasy bar that I
Ooh.
discovered here in Chicago, and they're having actors from Chicago, from Hamilton, perform like their original work, their original songs and
Oh,
music
that's
and
so
dances.
awesome.
I kind of want to get tickets to go. The tickets are only $15. I'm like,
Oh, you need to
I
go.
could do that.
You need to go. You
I know.
absolutely need to go. You don't want to miss that.
No, I have to buy tickets.
I expect you to buy tickets and then tell me all about it. I expect a full report.
I will.
I will be very disappointed in you if you do not go because you must go for me.
Okay, and then you have to go to the Alice in Wonderland thing.
Okay. I won't
This is
argue.
what happens. So anyway,
We live
back to the
vicariously
book.
through each other. We're like Roan in that way.
We imprint for each other, with each other. That sounds dirty.
On each other.
Let's not imprint
Twilight.
on each other.
Yeah, that's very Twilight, and I'm not really into that, Michelle. I'm just saying.
Well, I
mean, you are my work life,
ducks.
but oh, you thought of ducks?
I thought of ducks.
I thought
like
of Twilight.
A baby duck. I know. That's the difference right there. Our core difference in personality. I think of cute little ducks, and you think of super codependent
vampires,
sparkly
and werewolves.
vampire.
It was the werewolves that imprinted
that's true.
on the humans, and it was kind of creepy the way they did it. You see,
little bit.
Yeah, here's another reason why the differences between Michelle and I. I hated the Twilight books, but I continued to read them so that I could give proper literary criticism.
Well, I didn't read all of them. I read. No, I'm lying. I did read all of them, and I liked them up until the end of the last book. I was like, you built all that up for it to be like, okay, just kidding. You go this way, I'll go that way. Good talk.
Mm-hmm.
High five. Mm-hmm. I was very disappointed. But anyway.
Yeah. And I read 1, 2, and 4.
I'm sure I read all of them.
Probably did. A lot of people read all of them.
I mean, but whatever.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people will disagree with
they are, and that's okay. Everybody has
and that's okay.
There's a book for everybody, just like there's a pot for every lid.
A lid for every pot?
Yeah, you guys know what I meant, okay?
So Diana and I already started fantasy casting for the Time Collector. What were your thoughts on Shailene Woodley? Because you never responded.
You know, I meant to go Google her because I know the name, but I can't. Where is she from?
Big Little Lies, Divergent.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, she would be
good.
Yeah.
I thought she would be good for Millicent.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 2 selections for Roan. We had Tom Hiddleston, because obviously, or Matthew Good, also because obviously.
I wonder if we should put a fantasy casting poll up on our Facebook page.
Oh, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram. Let us know.
Yeah.
Fantasy casting is one of our favorite parts of reading books. Mm-hmm. Just in case we ever get that call from a casting director saying, hey guys,
we need pinch hitters. Yeah.
We had some really good thoughts on our podcast.
We are just so stuck on how we should cast this movie, and we heard your podcast, and we really like your ideas, and we would love to have you come in and help us cast this movie.
And we want you to have tea with Tom Hiddleston and Matthew Good, so you can help. Well, I figure it's tea.
Whiskey or wine?
Well, okay.
We are wine women in words.
Okay. I just thought since Tom was English, and so is Matthew.
But Matthew, but he was also the co-host of the wine show. So, yeah, I mean, if we're going to do anything, well, not anything, but if we're going to drink anything...
Were we talking about headboards? No.
Michelle, we are very timid.
No, but Oh, I totally
Matthew, we
had.
would drink wine. I would drink wine with Matthew, and I would drink whiskey with Tom, because Tom strikes me as a whiskey drinker.
I would just stand in a room with them and be perfectly happy.
And just blush.
Hi.
You would just
Yeah.
blush. They just look
Like
at you and your
this.
face would go red.
Yeah. I'm having a flashback of the time we went and had dinner with Ryan's dad. Your dad? Ryan's dad.
Ryan's dad.
And they spent the entire meal making fun of how easily I blush.
Me? Not me. Them. The two of them.
Well, they. Okay, they, the guys.
They. The guys. Because they thought it was adorable.
Yeah. It's annoying.
My father-in-law thinks you're adorable, so.
I know. That's because I am.
But you blush so easily.
It's
so
been
cute.
a while.
I'm glad I was able to make it happen again.
I know. And I brought it on myself.
That you did.
So
Millicent.
Okay, Millicent. So Shailene Woodley for Millicent.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of someone for Stuart, but we haven't really met Stuart yet, so I don't really.
Yeah.
Don't really have any thoughts for him yet.
I need to get to know Stuart a little bit more. Maybe we could cast him in the next one.
I hope we get to know Stuart. I thought that I flipped. I wasn't flipping through. I was flipping to find my bookmark.
We use that excuse all the time.
It's a little bookmark, and it's from one of those really cute things I love about you that Rich filled out for me. And this one says, "I would love to create a wall-to-wall bookcase for you."
Aww.
I know. So that's my bookmark. But it's little, so I had to flip through the book.
My bookmark is a receipt from Fry's that my husband gave to me because I was like, I need a bookmark. Give me your receipt. And he said, sure, honey, I love you. Have this receipt of mine. Because the romance is not dead in our relationship. Remember, pragmatic romanticism.
Are we a comedy show or are we a literary podcast?
We're comedy literary. I mean, I don't think we were. Oh, I like that commentary. Well, I don't think we've never taken ourselves seriously from the day we met.
No, that is a fact.
Mm-hmm. So I will actually also, for her brother, I think we should have some sort of new fresh face.
I agree. He's very surfer, so it needs to be a shaggy haired, blonde, tan California surfer boy.
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily. It doesn't even have to be blonde. Just like that sun bleach kind of thing. Because I think isn't she a brunette in the book?
I think she wrote that they both have blonde hair.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then, yeah, he should be blonde hair surfer boy.
Yes. And so, have you been to Prague? Did you ever go to Prague?
No, I have not been to Prague, but I would love to go to Prague because also was it Angels and Demons or no, Daughter of Smoke and Ash? That whole series.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that took place in Prague as well, and it just sounds so beautiful.
Well, just the reason we jumped to that, you guys, if you didn't know, was there's a scene before Chapter 7 set in Prague, and it has to do with the astronomical clock in Prague. And someone I know went there and saw it. And I think I actually had a little miniature of it. And I don't know where that went. But I read about it. I was like, oh, I know that. But it's really cool. And we should post a picture of it because it's beautiful.
Mm.
I just Googled pictures of it and it's really pretty.
Ooh, and it's kind of cool, seeing those memories, and now it's okay, I got to go back and research what happened to the clockmaker. Did he actually get his eyes gouged out?
I'm gonna Google that right now, actually.
Because that was a horrible way to go.
Clockmaster? Clockmaker?
Yeah.
Clockmaster?
Clockmaster. Now the next question is, now Stuart sent that to him. What does this have to do with the situation at hand? Is somebody out to...
Oh, he really was blinded.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. Hold on. Control find. I got so used to doing Control F to find things like on online textbooks and websites that I forgot that I can't Control F in actual textbooks, and it was very sad. The clockmaker Hanus was blinded on the order of the Prague counselor so that he could not repeat his work. He disabled the clock, and no one was able to repair it for the next 100 years.
Huh.
I mean, that's according to Wikipedia. Normally, I do a little more in-depth research than that.
But, you know, we time constraints and stuff.
Yeah, we're looking for quick facts.
But that's okay. So sucks for him, but that's so cool that there's like this real actual history. I mean, I that's one of the questions we're gonna have to ask Gwendolyn is what was it like having to research these little snippets of time and history for these stories?
Wow. Yeah, and did she go there? Because I would love to see that in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I am on the Prague website.
Now, this is the third book by Gwen that we've read.
Yes, the second one for the show, but the third one that we've read.
Yes, and I feel like they all sucked me in, and it was so funny because when Michelle and I were talking yesterday, in fact, I was like, oh, I'm on chapter 2, but I should be caught up to you. She was on like 5 or 6 when we talked, and I was like, by Thursday, I should be caught up to you. And like within an hour or 2, I was like, oh, I'm on chapter 7.
Yeah, I didn't get to read. Well, I fell asleep last night, so I didn't read anything. And then today I was just a crazy person, so I didn't get to read much more. But yeah, there's, there are some authors that you just buy, like, as soon as you find out that a new book is coming out, like, I didn't even know what this book was about. I just knew that I wanted to read it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
and I was excited that there was a setting in New Orleans.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where Rowan lives.
Mm-hmm.
In his amazing warehouse loft apartment thing.
Another reason why he's my book boyfriend.
I love his security system. It's so smart. Like little details like that she creates. Like, so if you haven't read that part yet, oh well. And if you're just listening to us for our awesome comedy,
the spoilers aren't too bad. We're not really
they're not
into the spoilers.
But so the security system that he has are flowers, because flowers don't only retain imprints as long as they're alive. So if he touches the flower, he'll know if someone was in his house, because they will retain that imprint, and only the imprints that he has created for them. But that's genius. Like who thinks of that? Right? That kind of detail.
He's such a he's got all this like strange intricacies, but then when he meets Millicent, it was so adorable because he goes into her shop, her little artist shop, and he's walking around, and then he gets shy because here's somebody who's just like him, and he's like, oh my god, what do I do, let me just buy everything.
I really want to see like, I'm really into snow globes now. I want to find a snow globe to take a picture with this book.
I want the one, she does one of a Zen Garden snow globe. I want that snow globe.
So Gwen, if you're listening, we're going to need snow globes. One to Chicago, one to Los Angeles, little Zen Garden snow globe.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I'm sure you have.
We get arcs of the book and then the snow globes. It's not too much to ask.
That's it. I mean, we're not picky or high maintenance.
we're not high maintenance at all. We're not demanding.
And I also saw a video today on how to make a snow globe. I mean, they use little princess figurines, but I'm sure I could replace that with a little mini Zen garden and try to build it myself.
You know what would be fun with that whole Zen garden is like, okay, so you do the snow globe. You have like the snow globe stuff, but the bottom is just like, you know how you have like the outline of the Zen garden and you have the rocks and then you have like the rake? What if instead of like the sand, you have the, like, you know how you can like
Yeah.
do the thing with the sand, like rake it around. You shake up the snow globe, and then how it lands within there, right? And you can do like little like design thing for it, or maybe like in the bottom you can like switch the design. You can have like
Okay,
like
now
a
you're
little
getting a little
gear.
complicated.
I am.
You're throwing gears in there, and it's.
Well, it's like with a music box. You turn it once, and it's like this shape. You turn it this way, and then it's this shape, and it lands in that kind of design.
True. Oh my gosh, that scene, the opening scene where he found the little music box. I totally thought he was gonna buy it for like $20 and then walk out knowing that he had totally found something amazing. But the fact that he turned around and told the shop owner how much it was worth, like the history about it, the names to remember, the people to contact, like
that's so good of him. That's so kind of him.
my heart.
I know. Now, going back to our fantasy casting, now that we've brought up Melissa, I think Shailene Woodley might be a little too young, or actor's too old. Well, I mean, she's 26,
she's
27.
supposed to be 26, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's, in Big Little Lies, that's probably around the age
Yeah. Okay.
that she was supposed to play.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, she just has that like kind of like laid back, like
surfer girl,
but intense and confident. But
I think I see, even though like I watch Big Little Lies and I love Big Little Lies, I think I see I still have the image of her from the series, the movie series,
Divergent.
Thank you. I still see too much of the Divergent, or she was also in the one about Hawaii, and I'm suddenly blanking on titles of movies and things.
Oh, the ship one.
The Descendants. The Descendants.
Oh, I never saw that one.
That's a really good movie, and it's one of those few legal movies that I can really get into because it's so very accurate. The guy did a really good job of that when he wrote the book, so they were able to really play with it and well enough with the story. But I still, in my head, I still kind of see her as a teenager, even though she's kind of broken away from that because of the Big Little Lies.
Sorry, I'm not bored. I'm just tired.
Yeah, because of the Big Little Lies, I still see her kind of younger, but I think maybe she could probably pull it.
She could definitely pull it off. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
But if you guys have a better idea for Millicent, just let us know. We promise to bring you to wine/tea/whiskey with Tom Hiddleston and
we do
Matthew Good. Oh, well, I mean, if they pitch an idea and the casting director likes it,
okay,
we're gonna say no.
No, you're right. We'll bring them because we do love our audience, and I'm not that selfish.
Anyway, I forgot what I was just gonna say. Nope, it's gone. The thought is gone. But I guess, are we at our hour? We are just about, right?
I have no clue. I don't even remember when we start. I should start taking notes as to when we start, since I'm the one who's starting our hangouts now.
Well,
you're like, because that means that you don't get to be tech girl anymore.
I do enjoy that. We have like 5 minutes left, but I feel like we're about to descend into the vortex of randomness. So.
We haven't done that already.
Well, we've at least talked about the book.
I know, that's true. And headboards.
And things relevant to the book. Like the Prague clock and the fact that the poor guy was actually blinded.
In the music box.
Music box.
Yeah, so you guys pick up the book. It's great. It's another great read from Gwen, and you want to join in with us on this one.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks for listening, and keep reading.
Yeah.
And don't forget to enter the giveaway on Instagram.
Yes. Wish Michelle
Not
happy
just
birthday.
because I want all the birthday wishes, but because we want to give you an awesome book.
Yeah, because I mean, it's, you know, when it's something special from us, when it's our birthday, then we gotta give gifts away to other people.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to go get a book tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to get, but it's my birthday, so I'm going to buy a book.
Ooh, yes, you should go buy a book.
I will.
All right.
All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.